Go live. Okay. Okay. I'm going to. Okay, still not letting me, but okay, go to that. Go to that post. Wait a minute. All right, here's what you're gonna do. Go to Prophetic Voices. Go to Prophetic Voices. You're gonna see this video live. Just share that. Just hit the share button, and it's gonna go to your page. Go to Prophetic Voices, and just when you see this live video, just hit share, and that's gonna automatically go to your page. Hey, everybody, just hold tight. Very special guest tonight is the one and only Dr. Chancellor and Jackson. All right, hey everybody, my guest is here. She's just adding it up to her page and getting going. Tonight, for those of you who've never had the opportunity to hear from the one and only Pastor, Chancellor, Dr. Ann Jackson. She is here in the house tonight, and we're gonna have a good time. I need everybody to share. I need everybody to share the video right now. I need everybody to share this video. Hey everybody, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. It's your boy, Pastor Dru, from the Dru Kelly Show. We're going to get going in just a moment. This is an impromptu with my girl and my confidant and one of the smartest sisters I've ever met in my whole entire life. She's rapidly become one of my spiritual partners and definitely a mentor, both with the Word of God and also through business. This sister has about 89 degrees. Name a subject matter, she has a degree in it. Yep. I need everybody that's on right now. I need you to tell your boy Pastor Dru, where are you honing in from? Where you honing in from? Listen, the way the algorithms work with Facebook or just about all social media is it's contact, it's communicating that allow the algorithms to pump and push what it is that you're doing. And so to let Facebook know that you're here, I need you to holler back at a color preacher and tell me, where are you calling from? Where are you watching from? Yep. Just type it in there, where you're watching from. We're going to talk tonight about love, life, relationships as it pertains to the body of Christ. You know, they think that when you're in ministry that, you know, you're not supposed to date, you're not supposed to look, you're not supposed to have any thoughts about somebody you see. You're just supposed to leave your mama house and just go get married, and all of the stuff that happens in between, it's not supposed to happen or you're going to hell. But we're going to talk about it on tonight. We're going to talk about that on the show much more. But I need you to tell me where you honing in from. All right? I need you to tell me what city and state are you watching. What city and state are you watching from? What city and state are you watching from? All right. What I got? A bunch of saints with broke fingers. I need y'all to tell me where you're watching from, man. Sister. Talk to a colored preacher. Tell me where you're calling from. Where you watching from. Okay, I'm waiting for Dr. Jackson to jump back on. Where you at now? You have to do this. I think she thinks she needs to be on Facebook. We'll let my Willette Jones out of Dallas, Texas. Hey, Willette. Thank you for joining your boy. All right, she's back. All righty, we're ready.
Wow.
All right, good people, we're going to get started here. All right. Here we go.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. Okay, here we go. For those of you that are watching from Dr. Jackson's page, you can join us live in the studio. For those of you on Facebook, if you want to join us live in the studio, hold on one sec. I am going to give you the link that you can actually come into the studio. You can watch from the green room here in the studio. And if you have something you want to say or want to add, I have a question, I have a comment, and you want to come on live, you can. Now, if you got your wig on the dresser and you don't feel like the camera being on you
No, you
straight,
didn't.
you don't have to turn your camera on.
You didn't say
You
that.
don't,
No.
you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't
Oh,
want. I know a
God.
lot of you are camera shy. You're not like Dr. Jackson and I that jump on and we just do what we do because we don't care how you feel about how we look. We just come on and do what we need to do. But I know some of y'all ain't brave like that. Some of y'all are, you guys don't look right now. I can't turn my camera on. So since you can't turn your camera on and your wig might be on backwards, what we want you to do is to just what we want you to do is to just leave your camera off. We just want to hear you, right? We would love to see you too. But if you are camera shy, that's no biggie. Just make sure that you give us access to your mic so that we can hear you when you come on. Now you got to give access to your camera and your mic to come into the system. But once you get in, you can turn your camera off. Now it's not going to let you in if you don't give access to both. You give access to both, it'll let you in. Once you're in, all you have to do is click on the camera and it'll shut your camera off. All right? Because we want y'all to holler back. We're going to have some good stuff we're talking here on tonight, and we want y'all to holler back. All right, here we go.
I want to have a concert at the church. And since you're such an important member, I just want to ask your approval on who we should bring in. What do you think about Kirk Franklin?
I don't like him. He jumps around too much and his clothes be so tight. He's a little man in little tiny boy clothes. And I can sometimes see his package.
Okay.
I don't want to see that.
Understood. All right, what about Fred Hammond?
Who?
Fred Hammond? I want to have a concert at the church. And since you're such an important member, I just want to ask your approval on who we should bring in. What do you think about Kirk Franklin?
I don't like him. He jumps around too much and his clothes be so tight. He's a little man in little tiny boy clothes. And I can sometimes see his package.
Okay.
I don't want to see that.
Understood. All right, what about Fred Hammond?
Who?
Fred Hammond?
The glory to...
Glory to glory.
Oh, God, no.
Fred Hammond?
Oh, he's not saved.
No weapon.
Oh, God, there's a lot of weapons with him. There's too many. And they've all prospered.
Mary.
The girls in the tight dresses.
Well, that was one time.
That's why you want to bring them. Absolutely not. I've seen them. Hips and tail, all day. Breasts, hips, and tail with no scarves, no lap scarves to be seen. Absolutely not. They won't come in this church.
Okay. Jonathan McReynolds?
Who?
Jonathan McReynolds?
I don't know him.
Who's popular? Travis Green.
I don't trust anybody with the last name that's a color.
Yolanda Adams.
Oh, she's too tall.
Oh?
You can't be anointed and be that tall. I don't trust it.
Shirley Caesar.
Oh, I love her. Oh, God, she's good. And when you get her, maybe you can bring in James Cleveland.
James
I
Cleveland.
love him. Oh, his music. Oh, God, it's anointed.
He's gone. He passed on.
We'll dig him up. It'll be James Cleveland and Shirley.
Okay, so you got Shirley Caesar. Is there anybody else you approve of?
That's about it. And the Clark sisters.
Oh, the Clark sisters. Perfect. Okay, man, we do a whole Clark sisters thing. We could bring Kiara. Karen's daughter.
I don't know her.
Kiara Clark.
No, I don't know her.
Okay, Jay Moss. He's part of the family.
I don't know him.
So only the Clark sisters.
That's it. That's the only people that are saved in gospel today.
And Shirley Caesar.
And that's it. Don't bring not another person.
Okay, just one more.
And they all should come for free. Yes.
That's gonna be impossible. Ty Tribbett. He's got energy. The kids will like that.
He's gonna jump his way to hell. All the way. Jump up one time and go straight down into the pit of hell. Just like you. For wearing all of your expensive clothes, and your girlfriend, she be in the front and her dresses be so tight. You tell her to pull her dress down because I can see her Christmas.
Christmas. All right. Thank you, Mother Walker.
Anytime.
Hello and welcome to the Dru Kelly Show. We're here with an impromptu with my very special guest on tonight. She is a chancellor, professor, pastor, counselor, and so much more. She's my sister. She is my confidant. She is soon to be another one of my pastor friends. She's going to be over me real soon. She's none other than the one and only Dr. Ann Jackson. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
I'm here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
God bless you. I wanted to start out with that because, you know, the old church when everybody was going to hell. Nobody was good enough. Nobody could do anything right. Everybody is going to hell. Only the people they know, only the people that they approve of, only the things they do, you know, modern day Pharisees, pretty much. I wanted to start out with that because tonight, my very special guest and I are going to be talking about love, life, and relationships as it pertains to leaders in the gospel. You know, they think, woman of God, we supposed to leave home and just go get married. A man just gonna pop in your life just like that when you leave your mama house. A woman gonna pop in my life like that. It's just gonna be perfect. We just gonna live like they do. You know, the Bible says as soon as he leaves his mama's house, he finds him a wife and they go and they live and they multiply and everything is wonderful and hunky-dory. Unfortunately, life doesn't always work that way, okay? It doesn't always work that way. Let's take a few minutes, woman of God, and I want you to just take a moment, introduce yourself, and say howdy to the Dru Kelly Show audience.
Hello to the Dru Kelly Show. I'm excited about being here. This is one of my most favorite brothers in the whole wide world. I like it because, honey, he drops it like it's hot and tells it just like it is, and I like that. I'm happy to be here because I'm happy because there's just so many elements to life, and there's so many elements to love. And to be able to come on and share with the knowledge that I have with you is very fulfilling for me. And I just want to say, Dr. Dru, Pastor Dru, thank you so much for inviting me here, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you again for inviting me.
God bless you. We're going to run through your resume. It ain't possible to do it in a short period of time with all those degrees that you have. But I just want the audience to know that you're just not some anybody that's shown up, that there's been a life of work that has taken place. There's been a lot of dedication to education, to giving of yourself to community, and just reaching out continually just about in everything that you have done. So I want you to very quickly just run through your resume for us real quick.
I don't know how much you want me to run through. Some people might not enjoy hearing this.
Give me the condensed version.
The condensed version is I have several degrees. I'm a career student. My belief is you never get enough of learning, and I'm ever learning. I'm ever increasing my knowledge and my growth and potential in being an educator and also being able to educate other people. I started out in my hometown years and years ago, and I went to Florence Darlington Technical College where I got like secretarial studies and what have you. So when I left there, I left with the intent and purposes to educate myself. So because my dad had like a 4th grade education, my mom had like a 10th grade education, and I wanted so much more to that kind of make the dreams come true. We're the ones to make the dreams come true. So I became an educator, and I started doing that. And so I started at a late age. I started late in the game, but I pursued it, and I got my associate degree. That went on to get my undergraduate degree. I have 4 master's degrees: one in education, one in marriage and family counseling, one in business administration, and one in ministry. I have a doctoral in theology and also honorary doctorate in ministry as well. And I got about 37 certifications. I'm authorized and certified to work with the at-risk population, which includes HIV/AIDS. I'm also a grant writer. I work with the elderly in the community, and I also am a life coach. So it's a lot of things that I do to give back to the community. And everything I do and I've acquired in life was to be able to give somebody something that they could not afford to get themselves. So that's pretty much my condensed version of it. I'm just a person that loves to see people achieve and elevate in their thought patterns to just grow. And so present, I teach. I'm a state certified educator for the state of North Carolina, in which I love doing that. I've taught every grade, but my choicest grade to teach is working with small children, pre-K. And I want to catch those children before they get anywhere else. And so far, I've had a very successful record as to getting that child from pre-K to now. I have children that have already graduated college, and they've graduated cum laude, and they've graduated with high honors in school. And so I attribute that to them, their parents, and them wanting to learn. And so that's what I do now. I have a school called Agape Institute of Theology. I have another small business, Point of Excellence. I'm doing consulting work to help people learn how to do grants and write grants, and to become business-minded, to achieve their goals as an entrepreneur. And also I work with the At-Risk Population Fountain of Jacob. So I have several entities that I do, and I do them on a regular basis. So I don't think I ever get old. If I get too old, I think I'll just go ahead and tell God to come get me.
Wow, I wanted to do that, and I wanted it to come out of your mouth because I want you. God told me to pour back into you with what you have been doing. You've been doing so much that I don't think you really stop and smell the roses to really understand all that you have done. Do you know when you have gone through the ranks all the way up to becoming a chancellor of a school, and you tell people that my greatest passion is for the babies? That is so extraordinary, because once a man make it into the collegiate arena, they don't want to leave there. And they don't want to leave there because there's a prestige that you get there that you're not going to get down there with the babies. And so to have climbed to the very top of the collegiate ladder and say, you know what, as beautiful as this is, and achieving this monumental goal, I know where my real passion is.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to my real love, my true love, my real passion, that thing that God created me for. And so, woman of God, I just wanted to pour back into you to tell you, this is how you know. The Bible says, you know the Spirit by the Spirit. Test the Spirit by the Spirit. And you could have very easily just went on with it. Everything that I do and everything is up here. You know what I mean? Everything is in the clouds. But there were several things that you've just mentioned to the audience that it's like, oh, I've come down. I've been up there, but I come down here to help them. I've been granted access and given a seat at the table to be able to represent it, to do some things here. But I also never forget to come back down here, you know, for a sister to work with people with HIV, AIDS and things of that nature, and for it not to be, you know what came to mind? The first time you told me that you worked with people with HIV, I was like, this is a child of God. And I began to think about Jesus when Jesus wanted a cup of water. He went to the woman who had been having sex with everybody, and she gave him a cup of water. Jesus did not trip about her sexual activities when he drank from the cup of a prostitute. Come on, somebody. He didn't care. All he cared about was her soul. And he took that water and he drank from her cup. We would have said, there's absolutely no way I'm putting my lips on the cup of a prostitute. Come on, somebody. And so I know that you have Christ down on the inside of you, simply because all of the things that people would shy away from, those things you invite, because those are the things of Christ. Those are the people that Christ wants us to help.
You know what, too, Pastor Dru, my greatest passion was really not, in the beginning, was not that. When I left, I saw an uncle of mine years ago. I met him here. He came to visit my mother's brother. He came to visit my city. And for some unknown reason, I was coming down Independence, and I kind of like saw him, and I said, is that him? So I went to him. And one thing he said to me that stuck with me throughout my journey is, he said, whatever you start, don't ever stop until you finish it. And he says, I believe in you. And so I went right away and got connected to a community college here. and it just resonated in my mind. And when I got to a certain plateau, I registered in North Carolina Central University after I got my associate degree, and I went to go to law school. And I had a couple of judges because I'd gone through the rights of being a domestic violence advocate here in the city. And they said, you were so good at that, why don't you go to law school? And believe it or not, when I signed up, I didn't sign up for early childhood education. I signed up to be an attorney. Because in the past, I worked with attorneys. So when I got there, I couldn't decide. When I saw the younger people, I said, you know what? I can't measure myself with these young people. Because I said, I'm kind of like much older. And I stood outside the door waiting to make a decision whether or not to go in. And during that same time, I waited 5 minutes too long, and they closed the door on the amount of students that could enter in. And I was just 5 minutes off of it. I was standing there, I could have been in there. So I was standing there by the library at North Carolina Central when one of the deans came in. They said, have you decided what you want to do? I said, well, I haven't decided yet. They said, well, why don't you take a couple of courses and see if you like them? And I said, well, I'll try. So I took a couple of courses in early childhood education. And I made straight A's. So I said, wait, look, this working for me. I take some more. So that's how I got into it. That's how I got into it. After I started doing it, then a lot of things started transpiring. And after my graduation, my instructors came and she said, Miss Jackson, she said, well, you need some more credits to graduate. And I said, well, let me just do. So in my undergraduate studies, I started taking master's and doctoral courses to finish out my curriculum. And when I did that, I rewrote the 5 standards of education for the state of North Carolina and put it on a disc. So at that time, I just kept going. And so I got into my daughter, she taught early childhood education, and she said, Ma, you might not make this. You're not making this kid. And so it turned out that I started to love what I do for the children. But even working with adults, Pastor Dru, I feel like whether we're on the top or whether we in mid-air, I think the greatest pleasure you can get is when you can prevent a child from having some experiences that we've had. And to do that, you got to catch them young. Because now I'm dealing with a lot of young parents that really don't know that their child's needs are at this pivotal point in their lives. Because you have a lot of children that need a lot of extra assistance. That's why and believe it or not, the dropout rate for a child in school, it starts at 5th grade. By the 5th grade, that child already knows whether or not they want to continue going to school or whether they want to drop out.
Wow.
And they have the dropout rate for a 5th grade student is so high because they can't pass the tests. So they give up. And you find them a couple years later on the street. But when I started working with preschool, I said, if I can stop that child right now and give them some hope to look forward to a living future, then I think I can be a benefit to that child.
You can do it. All right, I wanted to give the audience an opportunity to learn a little bit about who you are, but we're going to go into love life, relationships, as it pertains to the leaders of the church house. Again, they think we're just supposed to just twiddle our thumbs and everything just happened for us because we love God. But the devil is a liar. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to get right into it.
This message is not for the believers. This message is for those who don't believe, those who have decided that God doesn't exist, or if he does exist, he's not worth following. Or if he does exist, he doesn't exist within the definition that Christianity or followers of Jesus Christ has given out to the world. But God is saying this to you today. Even when you deny me, I'm still there. Even though you don't believe in me, I'm still there. Even though you have denounced me, I'm still there. Even though you have sought answers in other things that totally goes against the plan and the will that I have for you, I'm still there. You've reached out to sorcerers and tarot card readers, and you've reached out to stones, and you've reached out to sage burning, and you've reached out to psychics and wizards. You've reached out to angel numbers. You've reached out to all of these different things. You've reached out to horoscopes and astrology. You've reached out to all these different things that will never help you. Because the entity of those things, the ruler of those things, hates your very existence. Hates you. The ruler of those things would have taken you out a long time ago if it was up to them. The rulers of those things will have snatched you out of here. But because I was there, I softened every blow. Because I was there, I protected you from danger seen and unseen, even though you denied me, even though you denounced me, even though you turned your back on me. Your creator, your manufacturer. I know why you're here. I know your purpose. I know all about you because I designed you. This message is not for the believers. This message is for those who don't believe, those who have decided that God doesn't exist, or if he does exist, he's not worth following. Or if he does exist, he doesn't exist within the definition that Christianity or followers of Jesus Christ has given out to the world. But God is saying this to you today. Even when you deny me, I'm still there. Even though you don't believe in me, I'm still there. Even though you have denounced me, I'm still there. Even though you have sought answers in other things that totally goes against the plan and the will that I have for you, I'm still there. You've reached out to sorcerers and tarot card readers, and you've reached out to stones, and you've reached out to sage burning, and you've reached out to psychics and wizards. You've reached out to angel numbers. You've reached out to all of these different things. You've reached out to horoscopes and astrology. You've reached out to all these different things that will never help you. Because the entity of those things, the ruler of those things, hates your very existence. Hates you. The ruler of those things would have taken you out a long time ago if it was up to them. The rulers of those things will have snatched you out of here. But because I was there, I softened every blow. Because I was there, I protected you from danger seen and unseen, even though you denied me, even though you denounced me, even though you turned your back on me. Your creator, your manufacturer. I know why you're here. I know your purpose. I know all about you because I designed you. I formed you. But you even blame me for the things that happen in your life when you don't realize those things would have killed you if I wasn't there. Those things would have taken your life if I wasn't there, because the enemy hates you. But that's who you turn to. That's who you're loyal to, the one who wants to take your life. But because I love you, and my love is unconditional, and I'm still sending people your way to let you know that I'm there and that I want you, that I want to love you, that I want to redeem you, and I want to restore you, and I want to set you on the right path. I'm still there. No matter what, says the Lord. I'm still there.
my guest is back. Thank you, woman of God, for jumping back on. Hey, everybody, the sister that was talking about trying to fulfill the spirit with earthly matters, that was none other than Pastor Simone Stokes. You know her. She used to work here with your boy, Pastor Drew, at WPVN. Sister girl is doing the doggone thing. She stepped in. Her mom is her overseer. Mom stepped down, and sister girl stepped in and has not missed a beat. Shout out to you, Simone. God bless you and your ministry. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Woman of God. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. There's so many single folks in the church house today. Why do you suppose, with there being Jesus is love, love is the greatest gift, love is the greatest thing that God tells us that we should always yearn for, hope for, look for, present, with love being the center of all things Christ, why do you suppose there's so many single people in the body of Christ?
Pastor, there's so many reasons why people are single. People are single sometimes because of just being single, because of divorce, because of death. There's just so many different reasons why people are single, and it will remain like that. When you read, you think about Samson and Delilah. That comes to my mind. Samson was not married, neither was Delilah. But look what happened with that relationship. It turned out very disastrous. Not for Delilah, but it was very detrimental for Samson, because he lost his strength trying to find love in all the wrong places. And so, see, a lot of people are single because a lot of them have tried to find love, and they found love in all the wrong places. And they were told if they go to church, they can find a spouse in the church, and the spouse ended up sometimes being the pastor of the church. You know what I mean? And so there are many reasons why a lot of women. I can't talk from a lot of men's perspective, but I can talk from a lot of women's perspective, because now women they know now that they can do better, and they decide they're not going to settle any longer. So they rather be single. If they're going to go through anything being married, they rather stay single because it's safer that way for them.
Right. I was thinking about what you said, looking for love in all the wrong places. There's a couple of scriptures that came to mind. 2 Corinthians 6:14 said, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has lightness with darkness?" And then the one that really takes me there is 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says, "Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoice with the truth. Love bears all things, believe all things, hope all things, endure all things." I think the reason that most people are not married today, woman of God, is because they don't have any patience. They have a hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
They have a microwave mentality and a fairy book understanding of love. Love is fairy tale. Love is what they saw on television. Love is what their girlfriends talk about at the beauty salon, which most of that is unrealistic. When the Bible tells us all things, that's the good and the bad, all things. That's your breath stink in the morning, all things. You didn't put the tooth cap back on the toothpaste, all things. You didn't put the commode top down.
I'm scoring. Let's go back to being unequally yoked, because I don't think the church itself understands the whole aura of being unequally yoked.
That whole concept. Go ahead.
They feel, a lot of times they feel like unequally yoked is when a person you marry a person that don't have the same belief you believe in, but that doesn't constitute the total picture of being unequally yoked. Right. Because there's some good men out here, and the Bible says the sanctified wife can sanctify the husband. Mm-hmm. So she gets him, and she lives a good life before him, and she presents herself to him. And the way she talks, if she doesn't go home talking about the church and talking about what happens in the church, it could draw him. But a lot of times she gets on the phone and she'll tell her friends about this, and they can hear that. So they don't want nothing to do with the church because they feel that, hey, the church is just a big joke. But right. Unequally yoked to me is when you're with somebody and that person doesn't want nothing to do with church, doesn't want nothing to do with God, and don't support you in what you're doing. They're unequally yoked. But then there are some good relationships where the spouses will support that. They just may not go, but they support them in the endeavors. They make sure that person is ready, properly ready to go. And so it's two different sides to being unequally yoked. And he said, but the unbelievers, and that unbeliever, a lot of women marry men now, and vice versa, because it's not just the women marrying men, it's men marrying women too, with the same recourse. They don't want to. They marry people don't want them to be involved in nothing. I know from my own personal experience, there have been a lot of saved Christian good women that got entangled with unsaved men, and they walked away from the ministry. Mm-hmm. And then you have some men that also, when they got what they wanted, they walked away from God. Mm-hmm. And so now they're in the world and they're trying to recover, but they have not really fully repented to get to that point of being recovered. Wow. So now they're trying to keep ministry going when the ministry, the Bible tells you got to go back and do your first works all over again. And right. They feel like now they left the church. What's the use? Because the church, they say the church is just like the world now. We allow, it's got nothing to do with speaking in tongues and prophesying and laying hands. Right. It's got to do with that mental state of mind, what they really think that God really is in their lives and lives of other people. And I think that's why a lot of people decide to be single. And let me just be transparent with you when it comes down to me. I was married before, and I became single because I was abused in the even trying to attend the church, verbally abused. And I felt that because I was in church and I was connected to people that was spiritually endowed with a lot of power, I thought they could pray for me and God could just stop that monotony that I was going through. But they didn't have they had no more power than I had, and so their prayers didn't go no further than mine. So I felt like, hey, look, so why stay in it? So my separation, my marriage was because of a lot of abuse, and a lot of leaders would tell, hey, you go back and you make it work. But if God don't join together and it's not approved by God or appointed by God, it's never going to be a true marriage. The matrimonial bed is going to be, and that's why people are single, because the matrimonial bed now is like when Farrah Fawcett had that burning bed that she burned that she burned him up. She got rid of him because she couldn't take no more, Yeah. So it's a lot of different reasons why women and men are single. And in my heart, I do believe they want a companion, but some are just afraid. They're just afraid that what they've endured or encountered before, they're going to go through it again because they see so many similar characteristics. And I'm going to say this, Pastor Dru, and I'm going to say it because I can say it, and I'm going to say it on your show. It's about power and control. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you got men want power, women want power. Mm-hmm. And when you got two powerful people that can't connect and can't come together and make that power blossom together, then it's never going to work. Mm-hmm. Because either he want all the power, want to take her power and sit her down, but the thing that comes after that, Pastor, he'll sit her down, but he'll raise another woman up. Mm-hmm. And it won't be her. And so now you got a lot of friction in the church now because she sees what's happening and he doesn't. And then me being a female pastor, it's a little bit different for me because once I've gone through that, and I had to go, and I think you remember some things I was going through myself. I had to really, really pull back, and I had to take a second look at where I was and where I was in God. Because at the end of the day, before I got saved, I was still a woman. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty much
Yeah, I told you that was one of the things that I admire about you, being such a strong woman and such a great leader in ministry, that you, as powerful as you are, you never lose your femininity. And I told you I've always admired that about you. I think a lot of women in ministry have problems with dating and marriage because they don't know when they come out of that pulpit, you're still his wife. You're not
exactly.
you're not pastor at home. You're his wife.
I'm not speaking in tongues in the bed. I'm not doing that. I don't mean that. I don't mind laying hands, but I'm gonna lay hands another kind of way when I'm home.
It's a Christian show, and you do speak in tongues, but but listen, you said something back about when you were talking about being equally yoked. Here's the problem: pastors are not teaching people how to first live happily single. And so you got half the church walking around idolizing couples. They're harboring and desiring other members in the church relationships. And God tells us that we are not supposed to be trying to have what another man has, right? Here's the deal.
Coveting.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Here's the deal with us in the church and why there's so much singleness. Because we don't understand that when God gives us somebody that makes our heart pitter-patter, when God gives us somebody that we think about them when we wake in the morning and we can't wait to hear from them, and we think about them all day long. The problem is, once they say, yes, this thing is serious, we believe that we own this person. We take this to mean that now I own you. We stop seeing this as a gift from God, and we start seeing this as my property, my possession. And so when we see the person as my possession and not my gift, then we start treating it like a possession versus a gift. Had we continued down the road of saying every day, thank you, God, and when you see that person is going through something that you need to step back, you love them enough to say, you know what, baby, I love you so much that I'm gonna give you the space that you need to come through this thing. I'm here if you need me. But no, we begin to believe that that's our possession, and so that's the way we treat the relationship, and before you know it, everything goes downhill. Go ahead.
And Pastor, you had so many good points in that, so many good points. And I could only speak from my own personal life and become transparent. I'm a very transparent person, and I believe being transparent helps more people than trying to solidify the situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm just very real, when you don't know any better, then you don't do any better.
Right.
And I've often asked, this is why I said, Pastor Dru, to multiple people, I said, you know what? Love is a 4-letter word, but it can take you to another 4-letter word that you will probably never return from, and that's hell.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you love, some people love hard, like myself. I've always loved, because I was a child that was full of love, and so I love hard. And when you love really hard, that's when you can that's a different horse with different saddle on it.
Yeah.
Because it's not that people want to be single. Some people just destined to be single. Some people not even good in being single sometimes. They're not.
They're not even good with being by themselves.
They're not even good by themselves, you know. So, and like I say, sometimes impulse can cause you to make a lot of mistakes and cause you to, like you say, power and control. And I say on my broadcast, and I want to say it. A lot of times they look for love, and they look for convenience. They look for a future. Mm-hmm. And we had my coworkers and I had this talk today, and they said something to me a few days ago, and I want to share. And I had to think about that thing. She said, "You know what? You probably, I love you," and they're all younger than I am. Mm-hmm. And she said, "But you know what? Sometimes you might be a little bit how she call it?" She said, "Little high maintenance." And she said to me, she said, "And maybe you should bring your standards down a little bit if you want to if you want them to find you." And I said, I heard, she said, "Maybe your standards are a little bit too high. Maybe that's why you're still single." And she said, "And just maybe you're just a little bit too bougie."
Where have I heard that before?
and I said to her, I said, "Really?" And I'm looking at the person that's talking. I'm looking at bougie talking to me. I'm looking at high maintenance talk to me, and I'm saying, "Oh, really? Are you are really talking to me?" But sometimes a lot of people, like I said, people come from singleness into a woman. Okay, let me give you a good scenario. This man comes to her and this is what she said. She said, a young man said to her one day, he met her in college. He said, "Would you consider marrying a man that works at Burger King or McDonald's?" Now this is the bougie. This is the one that said she says, she said the rest. She said, I said, "Oh no, not me. Oh no, not me." And so he said to her, he said, "I really wasn't expecting you to give me that response." And she said, "Huh? What you mean?" She said, I don't want nobody who work at McDonald's or Burger King." He said, the reason why, she said, because she said, "You don't know if you meet a person, and he may work at McDonald's, but you don't know, by having him in your life, he could own a chain of McDonald's one day with you by his side."
Wow.
Because you could give him something to push towards. And a lot of women, and there was a time I never thought like that, but when she started talking like that yesterday and today, I kind of thought about women, period, as a whole. A lot of times our expectations are so great, and they're great because to some degree you've never lived that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And now you got your standards so high because you want to live like you've seen her live over there, like you said, the couple that live high over there.
Right.
And so now you still by yourself.
Wow.
And you want somebody, but maybe your sights are too high. And I thought about it, and so I had an answer for her this afternoon. I said, I thought about what you said, and I'm never going to change.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm never going to change. I'm sold in that now. But is there too many holes in relationships? There are too many holes. And like you said, you might yourself might not have what you desire, but a good woman that's got to be a strong woman. I wasn't strong enough I wasn't strong enough. I just wasn't.
I think what a lot of people miss in relationships, again, I go back to Disney and Hollywood and romance novels, is where they get the idea of relationships, love, marriage, and foreverness. But when you think about, I had a sister and I was counseling her at my church, and she would go on and on and on. And it's like, girl, you are listening to a bunch of sisters that don't have a man, can't get a man.
And they will never have me.
You're listening because she's very beautiful, and lots of men approach her and want to get to know her. But the idea that she has for a mate comes through somebody else and not what God has given to her. And I told her, your problem is you keep looking at men that are broke, but you're not looking inward that you're broken. And so when you're looking down on them for what they don't have, with everything that you do have, you're in the same boat as him because you're just as broken as him. The only difference is you're broken with a couple of dollars. So you got to change your whole mindset. And she was just so devastated. And I was like, listen, we as leaders sometimes have to break your heart to clear your vision. Your heart got to be broken in order for you to be able to understand where you are and who you are. The Bible says walk in wisdom towards outsiders, making the best use of the time. If that's not a man for you, then you ought to be asking yourself the question, why did God allow me to meet this gentleman? Why did God allow me to meet this man? What is my assignment? What am I to learn? Is this what I'm not supposed to deal with? Is this what I'm supposed to help? Is there a sister that I know that they would make a perfect couple? This man was never for me. There's people that come to the ministry and they want to join. And it's like, you don't belong in this ministry. But I know the ministry that where you do belong. And I'm going to connect you with that pastor because that's where you belong. Most pastors will never do that because they don't see God in what they're doing. They're man-centered. We have to be so God-centered when we're looking for a mate that we don't miss what comes before us. People like, Pastor Dru, why you been single all this time? Because I learned how to live happily single until marriage.
And something said. Let me tell you something. And you said something. You said, like I said, you kept bringing out so many good points, and you pulling something out of me. A lot of times, we're single because, like you say, we got this mindset. And I tell married women the same thing. I said, if you married and I'm single, and you walk off from your husband because we done talked about some stuff, it's because you always wanted to be single and you got married and now you're not happy. So you're using what I say to help you get free from where you should not have been to start with. And then the Bible said a man that findeth a wife, he finds a good thing. He didn't say no girlfriend. He didn't say no side chick. He said a wife. He said finest. That means that she's already somewhere. And you got to locate, find me to locate. Seek her out. It's almost like, live here. Seek her out, because let me tell you something. When I think about that, I think about a baseball team. Mm-hmm. Everybody that goes out for baseball don't make the team.
Right.
And so he may have to go through several of them because he got to find the right one, and he may have to go through a lot of them just to get the right one. And the only playback on that is this: by him going with so many, he breaks a lot of hearts on his way to the one that God wants him to join with. So you got 5 women over here he done spent all this time with that was in love with him, that possibly had some kids from him because they love him, and then he ends up marrying a woman who never had a child, and that's the one right there. Because the one that he finds is not going to tolerate what the other 4, 5, they're not doing it. And so now he looks for a woman now. He finds one that's strong and says, you know what? I'm not going to help you take care of those kids. You made them, you take care of them. I'm not doing it, but you're going to take care of me. And now he got a strong one with a strong backbone that's not going to yield to his little whims and stuff like that. And she's going to say to him.
But now, wait a minute. Wait, let me stop you there. So a sister who marries a man who has children, does she have the right to say, because when we marry, we're one. So does she have the right to tell him, those are your children, you take care of them? I have nothing to do with that.
It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a thin line. And let me break that down and let me make you understand. That's why counseling is very important before you get into a relationship with anybody, especially when you have children, even grown kids. You got to consider family, period.
Yeah.
And most men don't want no counseling because they don't think they need it. They think that they already come with it. They already come with all the wisdom, knowledge, and all the understanding.
Well, men, especially black men, we equate counseling with crazy. So go ahead.
Yes, like with psychiatric analysis. And so now they don't really discuss it. When I do marriages and stuff like that, I take my time with it. I counsel her first by herself, then I counsel him by himself, then I bring them together by them to do it. Two of them, we do it together. And then if she has kids, I'll bring the two of them with her kids first. And then I'll come back again and ask him to bring his kids without her kids. And so then guess what? Then near the last, we bring all the kids in together. And all that's discussed about baby mama, it stops a lot of baby mama drama.
Yeah.
Because now the children know about a whole lot of stuff about what is expected. Because sometimes women can get married, they can be single for a long time and get married to men, they really love them. And then the children can create a problem for that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's got nothing to do with the church. That's personal. And this comes out, all this comes out in counseling. But most folks don't want it because too much comes out in counseling.
Right.
But what they don't understand, Dr. Dru, is this right here. Counselor's job is not to fix your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They're to get you to a place where you can fix it. You can see what's broken. You can see what's not working versus what's working. It's not the counselor. The counselor only is the counselor is more like a professional mediator.
Mm-hmm. Just pointing things
to
out.
Make sure you don't kill each other while you're sitting across the table from each other, especially not the counselor. But a lot now go back to leadership in the church. A lot of leaders don't talk about.
A lot of leaders
don't tell. And I'm not one of those leaders because I talk to our women, and I tell them, I give them the whole scenario, a spiel about why buy the cow when you get all the milk free. I go right into it, and I said when you give yourself away like that, I said not only are you damaging your own reputation, but you're damaging your body. So when God does send you your husband, you're not gonna be no good. Yes. And you want him to come with all the goods, and you're not no good. And that's why he said, how can two walk together except to be in agreement? You got to talk things out. And now at my age right now, I was saying to a young lady today, as a matter of fact, today, I said, I'm sorry, honey. I said, I hear everything you're saying, but I'm not changing my mind about what I want to have in my life. I said, I understand. I said, now I'm going to tell you something right now. I said, you got somebody's husband.
Oh, wow.
I don't want nobody's husband. I said, because now you got to deal with her, and you ain't never going to be good friends. Right. You ain't never going to be best friend and buddies. It's never going to happen. Right. Because she was the first one to have him.
Right.
So whatever it took for her to have him the first time, she can watch what you're doing and she can get him again. Yeah. So don't ever look for her to come and be your best friend because it's never going to happen. And so like I shared with her today, as a leader in the church, I always tell my ladies, I said, listen, I said, date him for a while. I said, because I use my own personal testimony, my personal transparency. I said, date him and find out about where he come from, if he had mental illnesses, if he had a bad track record, if he was a gambler or something, he was wasteful with his money. I said, because he was wasting his money with the first relationship, you can look and know that you're going to take care of everything. I said, make sure he's willing to come to the table. What does he bring? You already own your own table. You own your own dishes. You own your own lamps. You own your own couch. I said, what is he going to bring to the table besides sex? That's all left. Because you got everything else. And that should not be the prime thing in a relationship. And leaders should tell them that. They should look at, don't look for sex. Look for a good, and don't look, a woman should look for a man at all. But wait for God to send the man to her.
Hey, man, I want to go back. I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back a little bit to when you were talking about bringing in the children, because we started with should a spouse be telling the other spouse that was your previous life and I shouldn't have anything to do that. One of the things that I always told my members, woman of God, is first of all, You are dating someone. Here is the first flag. Here is the out immediately. If that person will not come to church with you, leave them alone. End of story. It's done. They don't want to come to church. There's a reason. And most of the time, it's not because they don't like the church, but the church reminds them of sin and consequences. And they don't want to have to face any consequences, especially when they tip over to your house at 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You ain't going nowhere with them. They don't take you out in town nowhere where people could see you out together. And so all of those are red flags. When that person does not want to come to church with you, when that person does not want to meet your pastor, dump them, end it. As far as the children are concerned, one of the things that I see females do that breaks my ever-loving heart is they meet a man and bring that man around their children before the relationship is solidified that this is a serious thing. Because he got money, because he's got a nice car, because he loves children.
Go ahead.
You're gonna bring this man around you. You ain't even did a background check to see if he's on the predator list. You don't even know if he's a pedophile. But you'll bring him around your children. I always say, and even when they do meet the children, they do not meet the children at your house, but you meet in a neutral place. Because here's the thing about children. We've all been kids before, and it could be our own biological parents. We play them against one another. So, a step parent and a boyfriend or girlfriend ain't got a chance because we're kids and we're going to, as long as you're giving us money, as long as you are saying the right things, you're all right. We like you. But the minute you really try to give us advice, you ain't my daddy. You ain't my mother. And so not meeting on their turf, fellas, I'm talking to you. Never meet on the children's turf. Always meet them in a neutral place that is not owned by either parties that are meeting.
And you know what, too, Pastor, that's what I love. That's what I love about you. So I love your tenacity in how you exemplify things and make it more clear, because a lot of time women do bring men around their children, and like you don't know if they're pedophiles or if what is happening in their lives, and you bring around. I always tell them, I said, why is it so important? I said, guys, and I'm being transparent now. I always said, when you gonna let me come over? I said, come over where? When you gonna cook me? I want to know if you can cook. I said, come over where? And they said, I want to come over and see if you I want to cook me a good dinner or something. I said, what's wrong with the restaurants? They got cooks in the restaurant. And I said, what's in my home that you want to see? I said, and I'm gonna tell you something. They want a lot of this is me. This is my own personal filter now. Things happen when two people are in a home together, and so you know what? Because I don't live a life like that, right. And I teach it. My members know I don't. You will never see a man if he ain't none of mine. He ain't come. Even if he mine, if he ain't putting no ring on this right here, and he ain't showing me nothing, he ain't never gonna come in here. And I tell you quick, you can't tell me that you will do the best you can, and I'm taking care 100%. No, your best might not be. No, I tell you what you do. If you good, the label will be good enough to go out to the courthouse and get a piece of paper and make it right. And I tell why are you gonna? And I tell, see, they always get on me because I'm so outspoken. I said, why are you gonna let them make a hoe out you? I go right in there. Why are you gonna let them do that? Why are you gonna let them do that? You're a good person. You're a saved, godly woman. Why are you gonna let that happen to yourself? I said, then now you'll come to church and you're gonna try to read a scripture, or you're gonna try to pray a prayer, or you're gonna try to teach Bible study at Sunday school, and you have not been delivered from that sexual experience you had from that man the other night. I said, and now they talking about being free and healed and delivered. I said, and you neither. You don't fit in that category. I said,
Right.
So how can you win anybody to Christ when you live in the same kind of lifestyle? It's just not going to work. And the same thing with a man pastor. Who can he possibly lead to Christ when if you're going to do so, like you say, do it where everybody can see. Speak when you see another pastor. Hey, brother, how you doing? This my friend. I just met my friend, and this is so and so and so. Introduce him. Don't just say, "Hold on for a second. I'll be right back." No, tell them who I am. Don't be hiding behind no bush. No. I'm a candlestick. Let me shine. Let them know who I am, and that does not happen. And so now, church has taken a totally different look now. It doesn't look like it used to look. Because people just don't have the respect they used to have for God, and neither the church, and it goes with leadership. And we tell them, and if you lose members, then the Bible said they went out from you because they were not of you. If they were of you, they would have stayed. And you're gonna lose people when you start telling the truth.
Stay right there. We're gonna talk about we're gonna keep this conversation going about the leaders. But I want to just give a shout out because there's so many people that have been talking, and I have not been paying attention to them. But Beverly Crowder, hey Beverly, God bless you. Benny Hall, God bless you. Willette Jones, thank you, Willette. Willette was the secretary for your boy Pastor Dru for years, and even now her company VOP, they still do our administrative stuff for us. Thank you, Willette. LaShonda Ballard, God bless you. Willie Johnson, hey Willie, God bless you. Thank you, man. Strong Tower, God bless you, sister. Thank you for joining us. Lynette Spicer, thank you, Lynette. And all of that, there's still a lot of you, and I'm going to come back to you. But woman of God, why do you suppose that leaders are not speaking? Because to grow the church, I mean, if you really want a fluid church, if you look at any professional sports team, baseball, football, basketball, I don't care what it is, what makes that team great is usually they have some veterans, they have some intermediates, they have some beginners, and they have some in between all of those stages. And that's what makes them great. That's what allows them to sustain, because the veterans are teaching the next group, the newbies are hungry to be like the veterans on the team. And that's the way church should be. So why do you suppose that leaders are not teaching the basic fundamentals on dating, on holding a standard for yourself until you meet the one that's right for you? Why do you suppose that's not being taught and stressed with a kind of zeal from the pulpit?
Because, man of God, they can't mix it with tithes and offerings. If they don't talk about the tithes and offerings, they're not going to have anybody in the church want to hear that they got to say. So they got to say, look, and let me tell you something. That I had when you first got started talking about this, it's because of tithing and offerings, and I tell folk quick, you ain't got to pay nothing, because guess what? God will get his one with the other. But but you got to get rooted and grounded in the Word of God. A lot of they have a form of godliness, but they deny the power they're in, and for that reason, a lot of people don't take God and neither the church serious, and they don't understand that they are the church, and they're not even taking themselves serious enough to know that God is looking for people without spot or wrinkle, or people that will believe and trust him. And that's why the scripture says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In their own understanding, in their own admission, they're doing the right thing, because that's all they know how to do. But when you start telling them about, quit laying with Joe. If Joe ain't married you, if in 10 years now Joe ain't married you by now, Joe ain't gonna marry you. You might well let Joe go ahead and go. And you and don't keep telling people, just keep holding. No, I'm not gonna tell you to hold on, and I'm not gonna tell you to stay in a domesticated relationship where you're getting your brains beat out. No, I'm not gonna say that either. But most pastors now, they're talking about tithes and offerings and rebuilding and always rebuilding and rebuilding, and never think about the mentality of the people. And the mentality of the people is, I want somebody in my life, and they don't understand that the church can grow if they can grow with a person that can grow with them, and it helps the church to grow. Because the man that finds the wife, he finds a good thing. Guess what happens, Pastor? He finds the right woman. Guess what? And he's in the right position in the church to be a good leader. Guess what? Everybody in the family is going to try to follow him. And sometimes, like I say, and everybody going to follow, because all of mine don't follow me, because they can't stand what I'm saying. Because I ain't with that shacking and going on. I ain't shacking, macking. I ain't tipping, slipping. I ain't doing none of that. And all that shacking going on, and they got up and on the usher board. Don't talk about people. Y'all judging folks. The Bible already judged you. He said, he told us not to judge you because you already been judged. And all you got to say, look here. I tell them, look, I don't denounce what they do, because I try to work with them. I said, now, I'm going to work with you for a while and see how this goes. I said, if this is really what you want to do, I'll work with you. But after a while, I've seen that there's no change. And you still laying over there in Joe's arms, and Joe ain't got no ring on your finger. I'm going to step to you and say, you know what? I don't think this is a good fit. Because I can't preach one thing and have you live another thing, and you walking that close to me. I'm not doing that. And I got you in front of the church, and everybody said, you know what? He or she's shacking, and we're not having none of that. And that's when that's what leadership has have fallen from. We've fallen from the truth.
You and I, you know, you and I are cut from the same cloth, because I've gotten up there many a Sundays and have preached, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And that means, listen, to my young boys, I don't want to get too graphic. Not here tonight anyhow. We'll do this in a conference. But you got to save yourself for your mate, because you can start pleasing yourself so good that when you start getting with somebody, even if you like them, they will never be able to compete with what it is that you've been able to do for yourself. Anything you do for 21 days become a habit. And if you habitually satisfy yourself, then when somebody comes and give you something other than that, it'll be hard for you to break away from that. And so I tell young brothers, you're going to experience some things in your spare time by yourself, but you can't fall in love with that, because that will cause you not to be able to have a good, thriving relationship.
That's right.
Because the devil will allow you to fall in love with you. The devil will allow you to please you to the point that no mate can please you. And that's all a trick of the enemy.
And you know, Pastor Dru, let me tell you something. And that is so true. And when you've gone through a lot, and I think, you know, and like I said, I think we are cut from the same cloth. When God allows us all to experience a lot of different things in life, but it's for a reason. And the purpose of those lessons that we learn is to be able to tell somebody else that you can become an overcomer, you can become an achiever, you can graduate from that place that you're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if I've never gone through a divorce, if I've never gone through living a single life, and if I've never gone through having, and let me tell you something, the only reason I got all those degrees is not because I want to be that smart.
Mm-hmm.
I got them because I wanted to keep my church open. And I went to school and I got loans and stuff just to keep my church door open, because those were the laying and playing. The men, they weren't paying no good tithes. Now they laying and playing, but they ain't getting no good tithes out of that deal. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, and I tell them all, if you go lay and play and you go to hell, get paid for it. You know, you laying up with Joe and Sunday coming out, and you come to church and you got to pay $2 in the offering, and you done lay with Joe all weekend. You go tell Joe he got to step it up. He got to step up. He need to get married so y'all can pay more. And so and look at and on the other side of that coin, then Joe laid up with Martha, and guess what? And Martha picked him steaks and baked potato and stuff and hors d'oeuvres and wine and dining him. And when he gets full, he goes over the Lucy house and he rests over at Lucy house. And see, Lucy ain't got to feed him because they're already full. And see, that's how it is with God. Once he blesses us, we get full and we go somewhere else and we start giving out, giving things out there. Yep. And then now we get back over here. And when we start starving again, now we come back over here. And that's how relationships are. I've seen it happen a lot of times, Pastor Drew. Men will walk off from a good woman for a woman that got big hips and stuff, and he go broke. And then he look at the woman that he left, and she's flourishing, she's prosperous, because now he's gone, and now he wants to come back. And she's saying, no way, no, Joe, hit the road, Jack. I've been through that before. So leadership actually have classes on relationships and talk about it. And so that's why I like women conferences. I get down with it. I say, you married man, I don't care if you drop your drawers and stuff, that's your husband. All you gotta do is pick him up. Why he gotta talk about it? Look, if you marry a woman, Pastor Drew, and you come in the house and you drop your coat on the floor, ain't no sense in her saying, well, Drew, why you keep dropping your coat? Just pick it up and say, Drew, the coat hanger's right there, honey. Put it right there. And after a couple of times, she started dropping hers beside yours. You said, well, and then yours get wrinkled. Then guess what you'll do? You'll start picking it up.
What advice do you have for a young sister just coming into the church? She meets another young sister in the church. They hit it off immediately. I mean, they become sisters instantaneously. Neither has a man. The sister is dating a man. Is it wise, or should she be giving her good spiritual sister every intricate detail of her relationship with this man?
I've been there, and I've been there myself before, and the relationship is not going to last because something is going to go wrong with it. Because, and God dealt with me about that too, because she's doing that because she feels like, well, I don't want to leave my sister out. I just want them to have a good life too. And you trying to have a good life and dragging them along, then you don't have no life and they don't have none either. So you risk the opportunity of having somebody by dragging somebody along. And that's with any situation. And so now I tell the sister, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's something that you're not going to be able to do for him that she can. And so he gonna start talking to her more, and they're gonna have a secret friendship away from your friendship. I said, either somebody go come and join this group that's gonna make a foursome, and they're gonna use that fourth person to bring back some information, and then you gonna be by yourself. I said the best thing is if you're gonna date anybody or you're gonna have a relationship, do it by yourself. Like you said, go to a public place and do it by yourself, and you'll know whether it's working and it's not, whether it's working or not working. And I just believe in my heart that you don't need. I've never, even as a child growing up, my first boyfriend, I never liked double dating. I tell my friend, minute, you ain't right. If me and my man in a car, we going somewhere, you're not invited. If your man ain't got no car, both of y'all need to stay home and watch TV together, watch the game. Because all it's going to do is cause a problem.
Woman of God, I was always the type, that double dated and, come on, that's my homeboy, that sort of thing. And I was in a situation where we went out of town and I wasn't supposed to show up, and I walked in on something I wasn't supposed to catch.
Bam, there it is right there.
And that was a very valuable lesson to me, because the Bible doesn't lie. The Bible says guard your heart, right? If that
Put a watch,
man or that
put a watch on
woman,
it.
now the Bible's not talking about be a jealous fool, but if that person is your heart, the Bible said guard your heart. If they beat in your heart, they are part of your heart, guard your heart, right? I'm not talking about jealousy. I'm not talking about accusing everybody of liking who you're with and all of that kind of stuff. I'm saying don't set it up for people, because I hear sisters all the time. She ain't got to worry about me with her man. He ain't my type anyhow. Well, why would you have to add that part? Why would you have to add he's not your type? So basically, what you just told me is
stick a pin right there. I'm gonna tell you something. And see, I got a lot of stories I can tell because I'm of age, and I got a lot of testimonies that, and I got years of testimonies. Okay, but some of these ain't old. Some of these are modern day testimonies. I never forgot. I was dating somebody a long time ago after I got divorced. Okay, I was dating somebody, and this particular person, it's not nobody on here, so I won't let my members know in the church. I'm not talking about you, but I'm going to talk about this, but it's not about none of y'all. So y'all been excused from this part of it. But I did some. I went home to my hometown to visit one time, and I was in a particular grocery store, and the guy gave me his number. He said, "Call me," and I was hesitant about giving him my number, but when he found I was a pastor in the church, he said, "Well, I let him know your church," and that's why he got number, because he wasn't if I was a pastor. So I gave him. I said, "Well, if you want to come to church, you can please feel free to call me." I said, "I will tell you where the church is located," and because I didn't have a card on me, so the guy called, and when he called, and he was interested in having a relationship with me, and I said, "Well, unfortunately, I'm not ready for that right now because I'm still dealing with some past hurts and stuff. I'm not ready for." I said, "But I have a good friend that will probably talk to you." That's how I knew who my friends were. Because let me tell you something. A friend don't do that to another friend. I don't care if the man start talking to you, if the woman start talking, she don't do that. She don't get in no conversation with him at all. And let me tell you, so I told him, I said, let me, we had talked, I said, I'm going to see something. I said, and play along with me because I want to see what happens with this whole performance. So I called him. I said, because God gave me this. God did me a lot. So he said, call her. God said, call her. So I said, well, I'm not interested in him. I said, maybe you want to talk to him. Instead of, I was looking for the person to say, I'm not going to talk to nobody who's interested in you. The person said to me, you think they'll talk to me? And I gave them the number. The third party knew that they were on there listening. They were listening, and so she called him. She called him, and he called back and he said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "She was nothing like you. Oh, wow. Her mannerism was totally different." He said, "You know what? You the kind of woman." You ain't gonna get in the bed with nobody. I can tell it's not your forte. He said, but she would.
Oh wow.
And so it's not no. I would tell these two sisters, and I've told two sisters before the same situation. If you're dating anybody, date by yourself. You don't need nobody to date with you. Misery loves company. And if she's too scared to go and date him by herself, then she don't need to date him. She needs to stay single in the church and lead devotion or something, and don't go no further. Let it go. Because
now, what advice do you have for a sister who has been physically, mentally, emotionally abused, but really want to date again, but are having problems letting go of the past, or thinking that there's a possibility that the next guy is going to be just as damaging to her every being as the last? What advice would you have for a sister in that
the same advice I would give a woman that has been through a domestic violence situation. I would tell her to take her time. I would take her time to heal, to make sure she's properly healed. Then when she does enter the relationship, she's gonna know because God will give her the experience, and He will give her like a watch, like you said, put a watch over her, and to let her know it'll tick, it'll tick and say, don't go no further. And I would tell her, take her time, and then find her a person that she can really trust, a person that really loves God, that they can pray together, and they can have that common ground of communication, and let her be open for change. And if she can't get it that way, because every pastor is not qualified to be a counselor,
right?
And shade tree counselors don't count. And let me tell you what shade tree. I don't care how long you have been in the ministry. I don't care how long you've been pastoring the church. If you don't have a certified degree from a university or college, you are not qualified to lead nobody nowhere. You might lead them to the water to be baptized, but you can't lead. It's hard for a leader to tell a person, especially when they've never been through nothing, how to regulate their life after they've gone through a situation of abuse like that and trying to start over. That happened to me. I tried to start over. It was really hard because every man reminded me, until I got healed and delivered, every man reminded me of the man that hurt me. Because they said all men are created equal. Every man got some kind of trait from another man because they are men. And just because one man hurt you don't mean another man's going to hurt you. But God.
So help us with, how did you begin to unravel, or how did you begin to let your guards down to be able to open up, to allow the possibility of moving on and trying it again?
It was that too can be hard. It can be devastating because you never know what you're gonna. Because life is like a box of chocolates. There's not a nut in every box. I don't eat chocolate covered cherries because I don't like the cherries in them.
Right.
And I don't eat chocolate. So my thing is this, Pastor Dru. Sometimes you have to say to yourself, I'm in control. And it takes a lot of prayer. And even with myself right now, I always ask God, is this right for me? And I said, God, let me know, let me feel something. And I don't want my flesh to trigger anything and fool me. I want to know if this man is right for me. And if not, if God don't join it together, it's not gonna last anyway. But then you don't want to go through the process of try to make it work, knowing in the beginning stages it's not going to work, because either way you put it, somebody's going to get hurt. And I always tell women this: when you marry a man that you get into a relationship with a man, you don't just get into a relationship with him. You get into a relationship with all his family, all his friends. He connects to all your family, all your friends, and you think there's going to be a connection there, and then everything goes sour. Somebody gonna say the wrong thing about the other party. And if a woman says, this ain't working, he's gonna have something bad to say about her, or either she gonna have something bad to say about him. And praying, first of all, and get somebody to pray for you and lead you into a direction where you can actually say that you can choose. He said, choose you, say who you're gonna serve. Make sure who you choose is gonna serve God with you, and go tell you, hey, look, and don't just because it look good, don't mean that it's going to turn out good for you. It just takes just knowing God. And like I say, in this stage right now with me, a lot has come my way, but I've had to turn them all away, because guess what? I'm not going to let anybody separate me from the love of God. Right. That's never going to happen. And so they rooted and and it all goes back, Pastor Dru, to finding yourself in God.
Right.
Because in God, there's you don't get all those mistakes in God, because He will guide you into all truth.
Right. Now, the kind of lost my thought there. I always tell both brothers and sisters, here's what you have to remember when you desire to get married, when you desire to date, when you desire to have a significant other, when you desire to have somebody in your life, here's what you have to remember. The first meeting, no matter what you see, 6'5", 240 pounds, an 8-pack stomach, muscles everywhere. If she's a 36, 24, 36, or whatever it is that you like, you have met that person's representative. That is not the actual person. If you meet them at church, if you meet them at a party, if you meet them at work, if you meet them out in public, you have not met the real person. Mm-hmm. You have only met their representative. It takes time to know who that is behind that beautiful smile, who that is with them wide hips, who is that with them muscles, who is that in that beautiful car, who is that with them pretty eyes. You have only met their representative. Right. And so if you keep that in mind, you'll say, okay, all right, well, that's nice. And yeah, that's what I like. But who is this really? And the more time that you take, you keep yourself calm. You don't go overboard with this, the aesthetics of what this person looked like. You stay in your right mind and your right spirit when you say that this is just the representative. I want to give you a scenario, a brother or a sister who was in a previous relationship where there was much sex. I mean, the sex was banging. It was great. The relationship didn't work. They split up. They know it's over. They know they're not going to get back together again. Finally, time has passed. This brother or sister has met someone else. And oh my God, this is wonderful. However, it don't compare to what that was. Talk to that brother or sister.
That takes a lot of concentration. Because, listen. You almost got me stuck between a rock and a hard place, okay? Because let me tell you something. It's not all about sex.
Right.
But consummating
hey, stop
relationship.
right there. Let me put a disclosure in here before people get the wrong idea. Let me put a disclosure here. We're spiritual. We love the Bible. We love God. We're preachers and teachers and counselors and this, that, and the other. But we live in a real world. And that's what my show is about. Real people with real problems, seeking real solutions that come from a real God. And so when we talk about these things, we're talking about what's actually happening, not the perfect scenarios that you read what a Christian is supposed to do. We're talking about things that people are doing that are contrary to God. How this show is about giving answers to the problems that people face on a daily basis. And so I don't want people walking away, oh, they just talked about sex. No, I want you to understand people are having sex, okay? And so we're discussing this for the means of people understanding on the solutions to the things that they're doing that's contrary to God. Okay, haven't said that. All right, go ahead, woman of
God. It's hard because while you were talking, I was thinking about the one year to Bynum and T.D. Jakes wrote this. I bought the whole kit. I think I probably still have it. It was called No More Sheets. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she talked about that in one of those tapes that she had about she cares. Those sheets are once that man ejaculates into you, he becomes a part of you. Mm-hmm. And when you go from when a woman goes from man to man, every man she has entangled herself to is attached to her. So she's been with 10 men and she's not been delivered and healed from those 10 men. It's going to be hard for her to move on because she still has a chance to fall in love with each one of those 10 men again because they're still a part of her. And the same, see, the man ejaculates, but the woman doesn't deposit anything into him. So it's easier for him to move on than it is for her to move on. And then once she gets delivered and she gets healed from that, then she can move on. But then at that, now the flip side of that is, once he sees that she can move on without him, he wants her back. Because now he sees that he misses something that he could have had. But then the other 9 feel the same way too. But if she moves on to a person that says, you know what? I don't want nothing. I want to give you something. And so it makes it a lot harder, because once you start having sex, that's all they want to fall in love with. But it's mobilized sex. When you get up from that place of laying down, having sex, life is still going on. You still got bills to pay. You still got responsibilities. You still got obligations. And you have an obligation to God that you have not met. And that's why it's important. He said, they that come to him must believe. When you get up out that bed, you need to be able to go to God and say, God, I know I did wrong. And I need to be healed from this, because now I'm into whoredom big time. And I can't heal. And all that is, when you having sex like that, is a form of prostitution. They're prostituting their lives to each other, and they're prostituting their lives against God. And so it's important that we know the level of where they are in their process. And it's going to be hard to break that unless if they can't possibly be in God like that, doing that. But when they were, he said, he called me a backslider. Then come on back to me. I will be the only one that can, I will not refuse you. I'll be the only one you can turn to that will not turn their back on you, that can heal you, deliver you, set you free, and forgive you. When I forgive you, I will bring somebody into your life, and it'll be like you've never been in a relationship before.
Yes, that's what the Bible means by being. What was that song? What can wash you clean? What can make you whole again? Nothing but the blood.
Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
We got to go back to the blood, man, to get this stuff off of us. I remember I went through a thing. I went through a thing. Do you hear me? I went through a thing at one point in my life, and I was doing things that was not me, but it was because of who I was sleeping with. Mm-hmm. I had become somebody that I didn't even know. I had never picked up a drink in my life. I had never put a cigarette in my mouth in my life until I started dealing with this spirit. And that's why the Bible tells us that no moral man should be dealing with a corruptible person. And that's why, brothers say, I go to strip clubs just because. No, that's corruption. That sister is there to corrupt. She's not there to have prayer meeting with you. She's not there to help you with your family issues. That's all about corruption. And the Bible tells us that we shouldn't entertain those that do evil. I need everybody that's watching us right now. I need you to give me 10 hearts. I need everybody on here to give me 10 hearts right now. 10 hearts, 10 hearts. Sharice Gunn. Hey, Sharice, thank you. You're not held in here all night, girl. Sharice said, in our flesh dwells no good thing.
No good thing. That's right. On this side, I can't see them. So I can't see them on this side. But and Sharice is absolutely correct, because you know what? When he says in the flesh dwell no good thing, nothing good will come out of it, because without Christ, you're gonna be nothing anyway. It's gonna amount to nothing. It's gonna just go away anyway. So it's not gonna purpose you anything. But the only thing that will purpose you is to trust Him in your process. And like I said, a lot of us have had. I know Pastor Dru, you can concur with this. We've had to go through a lot of disappointments, a lot of ailments, a lot of struggles, a lot of trials, a lot of tests in this thing. And I feel in my heart, I've been tested. God allowed me to be tested. And oh my God, He has allowed me to become tested in this thing, because He wanted me to, there was a story He wanted me to tell. And it was more than the sex and the single girl. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. These are things that we need to know. And that's why a lot of young people now, they're going back to shacking and living together because we ain't talking about nothing. And we making excuses for them to do that, saying, you know what? God know their heart. He knows their heart are filthy. He know what they're doing is wrong. So why can't we understand that?
Right. Wow.
And this bad stuff started happening to us, and we wonder, God, well, why is this happening to me? Look at where you are in your process. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're saying. Look at how you're living. And like I say, and I want to say, I'm gonna give a disclaimer on this too, Pastor. I believe in my heart that if you want a relationship with somebody, God will allow it. He will approve it, and God will appoint it, and He will anoint it, because God can do that. And there's nothing wrong with relationships, but don't let it linger so long. You ain't got to date nobody 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 20 years to see if y'all gonna be a match. You know, that's what you're doing is wasting your time. Next thing you know, you start sleeping together. Then he gonna find somebody that don't want to sleep with him, and that's who he's gonna pick. And you be sitting there with your hands folded, saying, "Well, he said he loved me," and you start scratching cars and stuff, and start running into his car, and start flattening his tire, and start going to his house, and start ringing his bell, and start fighting his new girlfriend because you ain't been delivered.
Right. We're almost
now
out of time.
Out.
We're almost out of time. I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you some scenarios, and I want you to give me one-word answers. You're only going to be able to give me one word, all right, in the flash round. But before we go there, I just want to help somebody real quick and tell you, you are not cursed. You're not cursed. You're blessed. When you go through hell, you're blessed. When everybody starts leaving you, it is only because God is ready to elevate you. They cannot go with you. It hurt you to have to lose that woman or that man. You thought that you were not going to be able to live after that relationship. But God said, I had to allow this to come to an end, because where I'm taking you, he or she cannot go. They can't go. And anything with God that doesn't grow cannot go. Good God Almighty. If it doesn't grow, it has to go. That's the way God does things. For those of you that desire to be married, that desire a good, healthy relationship, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, those of you that desire a relationship and you've been through some hell, I'm talking, you've been through hell. There's a reason, a cause, and a purpose for that. God said, I love you so much that I will take you through hell before I let someone take you to hell. Good God Almighty. Our God will allow you to make errors and mistakes. Our God will allow you to choose the wrong person before they choose a role for you that you won't live with me for all of eternity. And so check this out. God says that you are so special. You are so special to him that he could not allow you to be in those relationships. It had to come to an end, because who you are in me and what I am in you, I need you. I need you. I need all of you. I'm a jealous God. That person had your mind. They had your body. They had your soul. I need you. I could not let you stay in that. You were on your way to hell in that. And so it had to come to an end. That's how much I love you. I hear God saying, I know it hurt. I know that it hurts. I know it hurts. You gave that man your time. You gave that man babies. You gave that man everything a woman would give a man. Some of you brothers have given a woman everything that you thought a woman should have, and it still wasn't enough.
No.
I'm here to tell you that you ought to lift your hands towards heaven and give God the glory, because it was God that said, I've seen enough. I've had enough. Come to me, my child. So thank God, because he saved you. Y'all get ready for the book by your boy, Pastor Dru. Part 1, the me nobody knows. Part 2, thank your ex for your next. God bless you. Hey, listen, woman of God, I want to come to you. I got a few scenarios, and I just need Word answers. Tall or short?
Tall.
Rich or wealthy?
Both.
Does his denomination matter?
Yes.
We're going to come back to that one. Soul food or seafood?
Seafood.
Praying in the morning or praying at night?
Both.
Prostitutes or homeless folks?
Homeless folks.
Teaching or preaching?
Teaching.
God bless you, woman of God. Let's go. Let's go back to some of those. A tall man. What is it about a tall man that does it for Dr. Jackson?
I don't want nobody I got looking top of the head.
I love your honesty. I love your honesty. I absolutely do. There's sisters out there that are selling themselves. And here's the deal, because once upon a time when we thought about prostitutes, we just thought about the girl that put on all the makeup and high heels and walk up and down the street. But now they're prostituting from the computer. Come on, somebody. They're prostituting from the job, from the house, and everywhere else. So I was asking which one do you have more of a passion for helping in that situation? And you said the homeless in that situation. What is it about helping the homeless that does it for you?
Sometimes people need a change, and sometimes they seek change. Prostitution does the same thing all the time. Homeless people look for change. They look for differences. They look for a way out. Prostitution looks for a way in. So I think looking for a way out is what will serve you better.
What's the ideal date? If you had the ideal date, perfect gentleman, you just love his company, love being around him, what would be the ideal date?
As far as what?
Going out or movie, dinner, theater, dressing up, limo. I mean, what's the ideal date? Going on a trip. What's the ideal date?
Meeting at a public park or meeting in a public place, maybe a McDonald's or Burger King or something public. It don't have to be anything extravagant, just personal, that's it.
Wow. We are so much alike. When I tell you, it's like we come from the same blood. When I think about all of the dates that I've ever been on, this was probably 30 years ago. It was a sister we met, and we went to Red Lobster for lunch. She was in school, so she said, I got to get back to school, so we got to do this kind of quick. So we just had salad, and she hit me up before I could even get back to the office, and she said, you know I'm a college student, and you know I'm broke, but I have to do something for you to repay you for lunch. So she said, Saturday, let's hook up Saturday. Woman of God, we went to the park. She had a picnic basket. I hope she's not watching. With the nastiest. tuna sandwiches, some chips, and a bottle of wine, and 2 wine glasses. And I have been to some 5-star restaurants. I've been to several countries. I've been to some major events. And when I look back over my life, woman of God, as far as dates were concerned, that date always stuck with me because it reminded me of the woman with the mite. She didn't have much, but what she did have, she tried to do her best to, show me that she cared and that she wanted to do something to repay for, it wasn't just what you could do for me, but let me take the little that I do have and let me try to put something together for us to spend some time together. So I think
and
about.
then you talk about like a dog.
No, not her. No. A woman of God, it took everything in me to. I didn't eat mayo at that time. I didn't eat mayonnaise, and it was heavy mayo in there. And because I knew that, it was so important to her to try to repay for the lunch that I went ahead and grin and bear it and ate the sandwich anyhow.
Pastor, this has been a date for me many years ago too. And I went, so gentleman said, let's go out and have, I said, okay. I get in a public place and he said, well, I don't have no money. I said, y'all got a dish rag. I got him. I politely got in my car and I drove off.
This is before y'all sat down to eat, or this was after you had ordered?
In the parking lot. He said he had no money.
In the parking lot.
I had to go. He had no money. I had to go. I had to go. He ain't none of my man. I ain't finna pay for it. I ain't doing that.
When I first moved to Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta and I said I didn't want to just, there were so many beautiful women. I didn't want to just, the first woman that came. I wanted to take my time and I wanted to date a little bit. And it was the worst. It became so disenchanting with what I was experiencing because I kept running into these sisters from Spelman with their 2-3 degrees and it's all about me. And it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. So when I ran into this sister who went to Spelman, and she was unlike any Spelman woman I had ever met before. And it was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Wow, this is amazing. Absolutely beautiful. But I want to thank you for being my very special guest. I'm going to give you the opportunity for last words and anything that you want to add. If there's something that we were talking about you want to finish up, or if you want to tell people how to make it out on Sunday to service, the address and all of that good stuff, and your lives each and every night.
I just want to say to them, first of all, I want to thank God for you, Pastor Dru, and I want to thank God for your transparency and for your realness and your boldness, because that's what it takes. And no, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, and I'm not ashamed because in the gospel come the good, bad, and the ugly. And so I'm not afraid to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, because sometimes they need all that. But I want to say to those that are listening, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fall down. Just don't stay down. It's okay to marry the wrong one or be in the wrong relationships. Just don't stay there. Don't stay stuck. Just make sure that you can think your way out of that, and you got to think yourself strong. You got to think yourself into position. And look, it won't happen again. If it does happen again, I'm going to be stronger the next time. I'll be able to come out of this standing on both feet. And always, I tell them always, try, instead of waiting for somebody to take care of you, find you a good job, get you a little more education, and become more astute to what's happening around you, and become more vitally reaching more vital places in your life as far as your heart. Protect your heart, guard your heart, guard your body, because your body is a temple. That's where God wants to live at. And when you give your body away, you give your temple away. That means anything can come in and destroy everything that you have worked and loved so hard for. And so that's what I want to say. And thank you all for coming out and joining myself and Pastor Dru We've had fun. Ministry should be fun. It should be where you can laugh and have a good time, and I do. Believe it or not, you would never know I'm a very serious person, but I get that. I'm a down-to-earth person as well. I like people, and I like seeing people prosper and be in good health, even as their soul prospers. So that's why I have all this stuff. So Pastor Dru and I are very, very, very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff, and not just knowledge. We have paperwork to prove how much knowledge we have. We're not just telling you something off the top of our head. We're telling you something that's true. So thank you again for having me, Pastor Dru, and I look forward to having you on mine as well. They look for me to come back because there's a lot. We're not. This is not the end of it. This is part one. I can't wait. I can't wait for you to come to I want you to come to my women's conference. I had to postpone it for another time, and probably July. It's called Unbothered. I'm not there anymore.
Wow. I like
and
that.
It tells women everywhere, I'm sorry. Wherever I was during that time, I'm not there anymore. I've grown. I'm still growing, and I moved on. And it's time to move on and not have any reservations. So again, thank you so much for having me. And it's been a joy and a treat and a lot of laughter. So thank you so much.
Now, your service time and address.
Huh?
Service time and address for Sunday morning service.
My church is located in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's Nehemiah Worship Center. I'm located at 120 Wallingford, WELLINGFORD, Wallingford Street in Charlotte, North Carolina. My Sunday morning services are at 11 o'clock a.m. We have Sunday school at 10. At 10 o'clock, we want to come Sunday school. We have a lot of good teaching. We do a lot of teaching in our church to making you aware, making you comfortable with who you are. And everybody is somebody. And my motto at my church is, when you get there, your life will never be the same.
Awesome. And you also do lives in the evenings. Tell us about that.
At 7, we do lives. I would have done one tonight with Pastor. We're on at 7:30 every night. Dr. Ann, Dr. Boyce Jackson, and tell me what you like. And most times I'll ask you at least twice a week to give me a topic of your choice, because you have something to say too. And we want to hear what you have to say. And we'll talk about your topic. We'll holler. We'll even give you your city and state a shout out. And I'll bring you on my show and let you come and talk on my show live. I don't mind that at all.
Next time, we want you all to actually come into the studio, because we want you to be able to converse with us and ask your questions and give your comments the next time, okay? This is not the last time. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping to get her back at least twice a month. At least twice a month, I want to try to get her here and talk about this, because I believe that there's not enough real talk in the body of Christ. And if you want real talk, this is the sister that you want to bring to do that. Until next time, this time I'm your boy, Pastor Dru Kelly from the Dru Kelly Show. Real people with real problems, seeking real solutions, and that can only come from a real God. Until next time, this time, God bless you.